going on, everybody? Thanks for joining up. This is the first episode of the True Tub Talk series. We've kind of done a few here and there, and then Kevin and I decided that we're going to try to make it a weekly deal. And of course, the first week I'm sick, so I'm gonna
Good job, buddy.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna try and limit because I'm pretty stuffy. I'm gonna try and limit my my talking as much as I can, and then we're gonna kind of like Kevin, start it, and I can kind of chip in as we go.
Yeah, so I guess we just want to start with what we've got set up, huh? So I've actually got 3 different racks that we've evolved through over the last 2 years that we've been doing this. So originally we had this 70 series rack that we're using for grow outs. What's up, Zivs?
What's going on, everybody? Thanks for joining up.
Nice. And then I had some these tubs, but bigger. So the bigger ones of these that we were using for breeding colonies. So we were doing 1.3s in those, and they actually worked pretty well in 1.3s. And then that's what precipitated this rack. So when we upgraded from those small tubs to these, we switched to colonies in these of 1.3s. Also, just so everybody's aware, when I say rats, I'm talking about ASFs.
Yeah. Kevin breeds a little bit of actual rats, but mostly ASF.
We'll do the extent of my rat collection real quick.
Yeah.
So there's one female that killed the male and female that were with her for this set of babies. Then a 1.2, another 1.2, and one more 1.2, and that's it. That's the only rats that we do.
Yeah, no, you got like 3 tubs, and then some of them I'm trying to get. I told him I want to get back into breeding a few.
Yeah, rats. You need to come pick up all these so I can fill those tubs with.
I know, and I need to. I'm gonna get probably, I don't know how many I'm gonna end up getting, but probably it's like 3 tubs full of rats. And the only reason I'm gonna start breeding them again is because the guy who wholesale buys from me, they sell a lot of. They're getting into the frozen, and people are wanting the frozen rats right now. And so personally, I would never want to breed the big rats again. Like I'm an ASF like tried and true person, and so is Kevin. Really, I mean Kevin mostly ASF, as you guys see.
Yeah. So we were doing these tubs for a while. One sec, my wife's just getting home, so I gotta kick her out of the garage.
What's going on, Mission? Thanks for joining up, guys. I appreciate it. Like I said, any questions you guys have on the rodents? This is technically the first episode of this series, and we're gonna just to elaborate what the series is going to be. So basically, we're going to pick a topic the previous like a week ahead of time, and I'm going to preview it on this channel, so that way you guys know what we're going to be talking about ahead of time. And basically, we're going to go in and talk about that subject. Sometimes we're going to invite special guests on, like let's just say, for instance, we can get Justin over at Canova, or Summer and Justin, or Billy, and whoever that we want on here for a certain topic. If we can get them on, we will for sure add them in, and we will do some sort of software. We'll figure out what software we want to use and go from there. But this is basically going to be, I don't want to say a podcast, because we're not trying to fall in line with everybody else. We're trying to make our own special kind of deal. We don't want to just most of the, and Kevin will agree, most of the podcasts nowadays, they don't really stick to the snake oriented mindset. It's all about a bunch of different stuff now, which is cool, but we really want to keep this 100% oriented around the ball pythons for now, and the rodents, and just things within that. And a lot of the ones that you see now necessarily don't. And then on top of that, I don't know about you guys, some people enjoy it. I don't enjoy sitting and watching for 2+ hours. I get bored. When I watch something, I'm 30 to 45 minutes and I'm out. Like, that's just personal. But some people like the long ones. But for people who don't, this is going to be perfect for you guys, because we're going to grow this around shorter episodes. We're going to try every week. Obviously, we'll miss some weeks. It's just natural, but we're going to gear towards a shorter episode, unless we get a really cool special guest on and they want to extend it. So that's just basically the background of what we're looking at.
We do have a special guest tonight, Keaton, that I didn't tell you. So this is Jack from Southern Star Reptiles. He's
What's going on, Jack?
Here in Midlothian with
Special
me.
ed.
Heck yeah.
So,
I've already got a special guest on first episode.
Yeah. So Victory Lane asked, what's your thoughts on 5.15 for ASFs? So personally, I don't like putting more than one male in with ASFs. So I was saying these colonies I run as 1.2 or 1.3. But then once I got this rack as part of a different collection that we picked up, and I started putting 1.6s in here. And every so often I'll throw in 2 males. So a little bit of graphic warning, I guess. This boy needs to be fed off. I just found him today. So this is what happens when you put multiple males in with females.
Yep. Yeah, and people don't understand that.
So,
you know, they think ASF is like some sort of, you know, almost like a rat, and you can't do that, man. You cannot throw majority of the time.
It works sometimes, but more often than not, I find that if you put multiple males in there, one of them is going to get the crap beat out of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
unless the tub's big enough.
I mean, true.
Because I use the cement tubs.
Yeah,
they're bigger, and I can do 2 males without too much damage.
Yeah, don't, like I said, it's not always, but you know, it's often enough that
space.
You know, the other part, and like Jack said, he does them in bigger tubs. So me personally, as I'm evolving here, I'm going to switch everything to these tubs, because what you'll find is that even in these bigger tubs, ASFs have P corners.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got 20 rats in here, right? And I cleaned this yesterday, so they've already made that much of a mess. The rest of this tub is spotless. So by next Wednesday, when I clean them again, or Thursday, whatever, this whole front is going to be nasty, and it's going to be stinky. If they were in a smaller tub, it'd still be the same amount of spot. So I could put 20 rats fairly comfortably in this tub, right? So, and I would have the same amount of stink.
Yeah, see that's my deal. Is like I on my big colonies, the biggest I've ran 2 to 10 plus, but the biggest I've comfortably ran and consistently, like I'm talking numbers wise, is a 1.8. Even in the 70 series tubs, I do a 1.8 in the concrete tubs as well. Victory, I do 1.8s in those, and they run amazing. But as soon as you start adding a second male,
there's another example of extra male.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
and I mean, it doesn't happen all the time either. You know, like I said, I mean, it's like 75% of the chance, basically, is the way I look at it.
They tend to pick on one, right? So if you've got 3 males in there, 2 of them are going to be fine. You know, if you've got 5 males in there, 4 of them are going to be fine. But that one that they're like, nah, forget this guy. He's a
weak link.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, Victor, I use the concrete tubs as well, and I still run a 1.8. And those tubs right there, those 70 series tubs that you're seeing that Kevin's showing, those are bigger than a concrete tub. And personally, when I throw more than 1.8 in there, I notice a ton of, like, you'll start having some die off because there'll be so many babies in there, and I just don't. I don't like that. I like keeping my tubs relatively clean.
These are mixed right now because I haven't separated them yet. So there's like, I think there's like 3.18 in here or something like that. But they're just, doing their thing. And then later on this week or next week, I'll separate them into these 50 series tubs and make a bunch more 1.6 colonies.
Yeah, and they will destroy that male right there that's getting whooped. He will continue to get whooped until he dies. He will not make it. 100%.
He's gonna get fed off this weekend.
Yeah. So I mean, if you were to, like, let's just say an average person had a colony, and let's say they made a 2.8 or a 2.10 or a 3.15, whatever they want to do. If you open a tub up and you see either a female or a male getting whooped like that, some people may be like, oh, he's gonna be fine. He's just getting broken in, kind of thing. No, it's not gonna. They might as well destroy him over and over again. I mean, until he dies. So you might as well feed him.
Yep. So what else do we want to talk about in here? The other thing that I found with ASFs is that with these deeper tubs, they have trouble getting up to these water sippers.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the tricks that we've used for that, I don't know how well this is going to pick up on the camera, but we made a little swing down here. So they'll actually climb up on this so that they can reach the sipper.
Yeah, yeah. So they're not dying off as they
So I know
grow.
other people that use like 2x4s and stuff. I tried that. It's just so much trash. I'll put a bunch of 2x4s in trash with it. And, I think you had issues where they were moving them around and stuff, right, Keaton?
Yeah, no, I got to where the only reason. What's up, Chris? Hey, man, thanks for joining up. The only like way I found 2x4s to work in a bigger tub, like for example, Victory said the concrete tubs. I have some of the old concrete tub racks that I use for my big rats that I changed over. The only way that I made the 2x4s work was by what's the best way to say it? Like misaligning them
Making them big
almost.
enough,
Like
right?
yeah, not even that. Like I would do pieces of 2x4, and I would screw them together with a big wood screw, and they would move it all over the tub, and it would never stay in front of the water nipple. So I had to like um, you know, almost align, like almost like a stepping stool, basically, with the 2x4s. And that's the only way that I got it to stay right at the water nipple. It's basically like making a step with 2x4s with a couple wood screws. And I know it works, but I mean, I wouldn't want it. I mean, those racks have been there forever, so I don't care. But if I order new racks, I definitely do not want to be putting a 2x4 in a freaking ARS rack.
Yeah. So the way I've done it in these ones is I just put more baiting in because I'm tired of dealing with it. I haven't set up swings or anything yet. So they are very good parents, ASFs. They're very good co-parents, adoptive parents. Like I could take these babies and put them in this tub with these babies, and they'd be fine.
Yeah. What's going on, Big Exotic? A1, what's going on,
man?
What kind of bedding do you use?
Oh, yeah. So we've switched. We were using Tractor Supply for a little bit, but honestly, I find it too stinky. So we've switched back to this American Choice Premium Mini Flakes, and I find this room where usually if I cleaned on Thursday, it would be stinky by Tuesday. Now, if I clean on Thursday, when I clean again on Thursday, I'm like, I could probably skip if I really wanted to.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say for you guys that are looking at bedding, make sure that whatever you get is kiln dried.
Yes.
Because you don't want to have any sort of parasites. I spray my bedding anyway with that solution that I made, but some people may be like, oh, I'm just going to go to my local, which I've heard, go to my local wood shop and get a bunch of shavings off their planer. And use that. Which I mean, I guess if you really wanted to, you could, but you got to think what you put in your rats is what you put to your snakes. You keep rats a certain way. When they go in that tub with that snake, whether or not that snake eats that rat or not, they're already touching that substrate. If they have mites or ticks or whatever, that's going to go on. That's going to get on your snakes. So I personally only buy kiln dry, bedding for my rodents.
And then I'm feeding Missouri feed. I was doing Kalmbach, but it's kind of hard to get Kalmbach where we are. The nearest feed store is like an hour away that carries Kalmbach. So I know everybody says, oh, you need the higher protein and everything. I'm about a month in with feeding Missouri 18%, and I haven't really noticed any difference, honestly. So like you could see.
So what's your price per bag though on the Missouri?
It's like $30.
See, I just find it hard because for me, it's like even like I know you remember we picked up you picked up that pallet and I bought half that pallet from you. Yeah. I can order a bag of the other stuff off Chewy for like $26, and it's the same exact bag. So it's just hard for me to want to go back to Missouri whenever it's more expensive.
Yeah. So I think this is my experiment time. So once I go to buy like a pallet worth or whatever. Once I get it all dialed in, then it'll be cheaper than $30. But to go buy 2 bags a week, Missouri or the Kalmbach stuff, when I was buying it on Chewy, it was like 30 something, I thought.
See, I'll have to check and see. I could have sworn I thought it was like 26 or $27. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. We'll have to check it out. Steve Trent said, "Hey, he said, what's up? What's going on, man? Thanks for joining up." He said, you guys ever consider, like shipping colonies? Unfortunately, you can't ship
Yeah,
rodents. Unfortunately, because if we
yeah.
could, we would be rich.
So there is ways to ship them, but it's very expensive because you
Yeah,
can ship them with like Delta Dash,
yeah,
but they limit the amount of colonies that you can put in or the amount of rats that you can put in a tub, and
hmm
I believe the tubs are like $100 or so per tub, and you can only put like maybe 10 rats in there.
yeah. So
So
that's
if
just
you
it's just
really
not
can't
worth it.
find any,
No.
then you
It's easier to make a drive.
yeah, exactly. It's easier to just drive. Happy to like we'll be going to Tinley in March. We just found out that actually we're getting a table at Tinley, so we're if somebody needs ASF somewhere between here and Tinley, then hit me up. We can work something out probably.
Yeah, no, like I said, I mean, I've never found it. Just
No, we the other thing that I've recently added in here. I don't think you've even seen these yet, Keaton. So I was having an issue where my water sippers would get pushed out
mhm.
and then they would sit. So I haven't done it here. I haven't done these tubs yet. So they pop out, right? So the rats will push them up and then they sit on top. And if they sit just right, they
Yeah,
just
it'll flood
rip.
the tub.
And then ASFs are slightly dumb, to be nice. And if there's any amount of water in the tub, they like go dunk their head in it to drown themselves. So
Yeah. No, and I have the same problem with my old racks. My new racks, I don't, because when I got mine made by that guy, he did really good and made sure to lock all the nipples really good. But
yeah,
my old concrete tub racks, 100%. Like I had to go in there with the baling wire that you use, when you're baling hay and stuff.
yep,
And I had to go in there and tape, basically like tie mine down to where they couldn't pull it either down
yeah.
or up.
That's exactly what these are doing.
Yeah.
It's the clips.
Yeah, they're just so the clip goes over like between the zipper and the hose,
hmm
and then just clips on.
See, I've got that. I've got those, but mine, like, once on my racks, like those, that's heavy duty. That's more heavy duty metal on those. But on
Mhm,
mine, I mean, it's just using that simple mesh. And once that mesh gets broken, or you stretch that mesh out, you have to
mhm.
either completely redo it, or you just
Yep.
basically have to tie it down. And that's my problem. Is I have those on there, but it's just like that mesh is so expandable that if you start jacking with it, before too long, it's gonna, you're gonna have to replace it.
Yeah. So I just put these on like a week ago. I had a couple flooded tubs and had to go searching. So I got these ones from rabbitnipples.com, which is awesome website, you
He
know.
said rabbitnipples.com. Oh man.
Oh,
Hey,
so,
Cuddle
so
Time said, hold on real quick. Let's see. Cuddle Time. What's up, Mark? Cuddle Time Critter said, I get my rodent food for $22.50 a bag. Yeah, that's cheap for sure. If you buy in bulk, you get it cheap.
yeah.
Let me see.
What's up,
Uh,
Melinda?
right
So,
before.
what's the X's for on the tub? So, honestly, just because I haven't wiped them off yet, but we had somebody come in and watching or like checking on stuff for us and just to check flooded tubs. So not all of these tubs are full, right? Like this is empty. So
Mhm.
I went through before we left and just marked X's on all the ones that I needed them to check.
Victory said, "What else do you guys feed?" So Kevin just switched to Missouri again. I used to feed Missouri back in the day, but I switched to the Kalmbach, however you say it, that you order off Chewy. That's just personal. That's what I did because it's super easy and it just ships free. And I do black sunflower seeds, and I've been supplementing some corn. Like we have access to bulk deer corn here at the ranch, and I've been grabbing some deer corn and then also some peanuts. But I'm thinking, so I kind of did my own little experiment. I live on a pecan orchard here, and we have a lot of pecans on the ground. And I was like, you know what? I want to see if they like these things. And I popped like 4 pecans open, and within like 10 minutes they were all gone. So I think my goal next like season is I'm gonna try to harvest the pecans here, and I'm gonna just completely like hoard them and just make them a part of the diet, because I read up online that you can feed rodents and rats and things pecans, and it's not good for if you're trying to grow rodents long term, because they're high in fat, and apparently it's going to make them really obese. But I mean, when your
That's great
goal
for
in mind,
snakes.
when your goal in mind is to grow them as quick as possible to either feed your snakes or move them, that's like bringing freaking dollar signs in my head right now. I'm like, okay. So that's what I do. I don't know what Kevin does
feed
other than the food.
personally. So Linder's 690 sow cubes is what I use. It's a show feed for pigs.
So someone on here said they use show feed for horses. I don't know what brand he said, but he said he used.
Yeah, it's probably the same idea.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
the Linders, so that you can get different different formulas, and I use one that has probiotics in it.
Mm-hmm.
So you're putting probiotics into your rodents, which gets into your snakes as well. It helps their guts and their immune systems and all that kind of shit. Crap.
Speaking on that, I'm actually thinking of switching my entire everything onto hydrogen water. I've been looking into hydrogen water, and it's really good for humans, and I read up on it. And there's a company that you can buy basically like a hydrogen water purifier basically, and you just hook it up to your main water line, and it automatically turns all your water into hydrogen water. And I'm thinking about switching that over to both my rats and my snakes and giving it a shot.
I haven't seen that.
I mean, man, it's crazy when you look up the research on it. It's pretty wicked. So I'm thinking about doing that as well. At this point, I use well water anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But I'm just curious what it would do.
Man, Glamorous, you spoil your rats. So you say,
yeah, I know some people that feed like freaking eggs and
sunflower seeds, sweet potatoes, kale, collard greens, and also hard-boiled eggs. Like, damn. So my rats get Missouri, and then every so often, like when we're cutting up vegetables and remember, then they get those. But that's it.
But see, I give them stuff out of my garden too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't do anything special for them. Like, I weaned a bunch of babies yesterday, so we just cut up some bell peppers for dinner. I'll throw the bell pepper stalks in here, but that's about it.
She said they live the glamorous life.
Yeah.
See, me personally, I only feed my food in black sunflower seeds. I
Yeah.
don't. Besides, if I just like you said, supplement whatever in the future. But I mean, I've never seen a big enough. I'm not saying it doesn't help, because let's be honest, whatever you feed,
Oh, for sure. I mean, the more you can get them to eat, the better it's going to be, right?
They're omnivores.
Yeah.
They're omnivores. They'll eat. They eat whatever they can find in the wild.
Yeah.
Like meat, proteins, and whatever leaves and sticks and whatever.
Yeah, I don't think I'd want to feed my regular rat, like my feeder rats, meat, but
I'm just saying
they could definitely grow from it for sure.
But I mean, you are feeding them meat in a way because there's protein in your feed.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I agree. There's a lot of that's the cool thing about doing any of this. Really, is there's a lot of different options. Everybody has their own opinion, and really nobody's wrong. I mean, you could, like you said, you see what Kevin does. I mean, Kevin just straight feeds, just the feed, and he has amazing production. I just feed and black sunflower have amazing production. And then you're talking about feeding, scraps from your garden, you have amazing production. So really, that's the beauty of it. You don't have to be.
It all works.
Yeah.
So Nick asked when we wean. Let me see if I can find some that are ready to be weaned in here. So typically it's at about 3 weeks for ASFs. And I kind of just look through the tubs and as I'm cleaning, like this guy's just a little bit, he'll wean next week. He's a little bit too small still, but he's getting real close. So like somewhere in the range, there you go. These guys are good. Close. So like that guy, I would wean, right? And I only wean when I'm cleaning typically. So when I clean on Sunday, he'll get weaned. If I come in here though, and I see that their tails will start to stripe if mom has weaned them and they can't get water or food or whatever, when they dehydrate a little bit, their tails will start to stripe. So if you notice that their tails are striping, wean them immediately because they'll be dead in the morning. Trying to see if I got an example of one. There we go. So I don't know how does that pick up on the camera at all?
Yeah, you can see it.
So you see those stripes? So this guy has already been weaned by mom. He is not going to make it if I don't wean him. Sometimes they can't figure out how to get to the sippers in these taller tubs. So I'll just wean them, and then, I'll throw in that those peppers in there tonight with them, and at least he'll have a shot. If I leave him in that tub, he'll be dead tomorrow.
Yeah, see that's kind of why on my tubs, like I switched to the I'm super glad I did actually. I switched to the Vision 35. I think the 35S tubs or whatever, either 35 or 38S, and it's like the really shallow tubs.
Yeah.
It's like this. It's like 2 times the size of that tub that you showed earlier. That you have the 3.1. Yeah, it's like 2 times the
Like
size of
these.
those. No.
Yeah.
It's like
So
the top, the ones that are
these
on
are.
top of that, the small
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the only problem with the short tubs like this is that they bounce like crazy when you open them, man. Like trying to transfer 30 rats from this tub to this tub sucks.
See that I just pull. I've got to the thing now where I literally just grab it. I'll pull it out and I just grab them and throw them in a like I have a little tub sitting there and I just grab my little tongs. I pull them out of the tub and then they just start jumping
All
in the
right,
tub.
you're still scared to touch them, right?
Yeah, I don't fuck with them, bro. You know me. I don't jack with them, dude.
So
I don't mess with rats, bro. I do not touch them. I don't love on them. I don't get. They're a means to an end, and
I just
care for them.
move them around, Just grab them. I bring them by the handful. The other fun thing with ASFs, and I think you can do this with regular rats too, is you can scruff them. Come on. So you can pick them up by the scruff, and they just kind of hang there like a little meat bag. They're like
see, I grab him by the scruff, but with some tongs and some gloves on. I'm good.
That's way too much effort for me.
I don't fuck with them. Dude, me and rats don't get along, dude.
Yeah.
I have a BB gun in my rat room, and if they get out, game over. I don't jack with them. It's target practice, and then as soon as they get cooled off from the BB gun, it goes straight to the snake tub. Let's see, we've got 200 more.
Yeah, so Glamorous, I've had production like that just feeding Missouri too, or Kalmbach. Like, it's crazy how many babies they can have from one female. I mean, sometimes you get these females and they're wider than they are long.
Man, I don't have any, John. I really I don't have any problem with mine. To be honest, I put my food on the top too.
So, John, what I started doing, because I didn't do it because of that. I did it because sometimes when you open the tub, if they're eating, you rip their face off if you open it too quick. So, and you have that happen once or twice, and it's kind of gross. So what I've started doing is I know how much they're going to eat in a week. So these tubs, they'll eat about a cup a week. So I pour a cup of food in the tub with them, and then once they eat it, they'll actually start to dig around like this, right? And you'll come in and they'll be like, there'll be obviously no food on the surface, but then there'll be a hole where they've dug in. So they'll actually go pick up all the food that they ground up. And that honestly seems to be working really well for me. I've been doing that for the last probably 6 months, and I don't even use the feed hoppers at all. I just
See, I'm the opposite. I used to do that. I used to dump all my food in there, and I noticed a lot of my colonies were wasting food. So I got to where now I only put my rat rodent food on top on my hopper, and if I see, like, I'm gonna be honest, if I walk in, let's just say I'm cleaning a colony, and I walk in and I see that colony tried to eat all that food off the hopper and it's just sitting there, I feed that colony off. I don't jack with them. They're gone. They're snake food. And I don't. As soon as I do that, I never really have I only have 1 or 2 when I redo all my racks with my females. I only have 1 or 2 that'll either pick on the male or pick on a female, or they will eat try to eat all the food down, and those colonies get fed off immediately, and I have no more problems. It's just for me, it's one of those one of those things. It's not worth jacking with. That's just personal preference.
I agree, because I mean, we run the same thing for when they're nippy ones, right? Like a lot of people have ones that'll bite. if you just feed those out, they're very how do you say it? Social learners, I guess, right? So like they, keep feeding off the ones that grind up the food. They figure it out pretty quick, right? They teach each other.
Now, once you have one in there, if you have one, like for instance, if you have one in there freaking destroying another one, they're all going to destroy that male. I mean, or that female. They're not going to leave it alone. They've already discarded it out of the pack. It's no longer a part of that group. He's going to be stuck in the corner of the tub. And the same thing with babies. I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you guys noticed it. If they have a baby that they don't deem healthy, it's nature. They're going to cull that baby off. They're going to eat it. That baby's gone. And that's just the cycle of life. It's gonna happen. It's just how it is.
Yeah. So Glamorous, the numbers that I use just for easy math is 10 babies per female per month. It's typically more than that. So right now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've got 20 colonies of 1.6, and then like 5 1.2s that I'm weaning down. So there's
I've probably got. I'm trying to think how many I have. I've got
120 babies. So about
how many?
1,200 a month, or 120 females. So yeah, probably around 1,200 a month that I'll be producing.
Yeah, I think I've got mine to like.
First litter?
I think I've got 424. I've got like 50.
Melinda, they can have
colonies.
any amount. Honestly, I've had first litters where they have one baby, and I've had first litters where they have like 25 babies. It doesn't seem to be consistent.
Yeah, I've been ramping my stuff up lately. I think I've got 56 colonies, and they're it's either a 4-to-1 or all the way up to a 9-to-1. And that's just because That's just because I have a wholesaler who comes and buys. That's the only reason I have that many.
Yeah.
Kevin, they've got more snakes than I do. Kevin, over there, but I have a wholesaler that buys, and now we're getting into frozen thawed. So I'm just trying to completely just blow out my production right now, in hopes of getting a bunch of frozen, so that way we have something. Let me see what else. Average for I'm the same way with Kevin. 100%.
Exactly, Duncan. I had one that they were in one of these tubs, and the colony flooded itself, and then I moved them, and the next day they flooded themselves again, and I moved them again, and the next day one of them was dead. So the 3 other, it was the 1.3. So the 3 other ones figured out that Leroy over here is flooding the tub on them, and they were like, "Fuck you, Leroy," and they killed his ass.
Fuck you, Leroy. Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, I don't play with any of my colonies. I see something wrong. I don't care if it's because I've had times in the past where, let's just say, instance, your first clutch, or your first clutch of babies off of an ASF colony. Sometimes a few like 1 or 2 moms will kill some of the babies off. I've got to the point now where I have so many growing back. I grow my females back, probably a month in advance before I redo all my colonies. And if I walk in and there's a colony that killed even 2 babies that I see, if I see blood on their face or anything, it's snake food. Because for me, it's not worth me leaving them in that rodent, or leaving them in that rack to breed and kill more babies whenever my snake, can get one of those females, the breeding season, one of my big females can get a really good meal off of it. So I feed off regardless. I mean, I see anything. I don't care what it is. I see fighting. I see baby killing. I see, food. They're wasting food. Anything like that, I kill. I just automatically just throw them in with the snake, and they're gone. They're gone.
Yep, absolutely agree. Now, one thing that I was thinking about yesterday while I was cleaning, I've noticed that all these babies got weaned at the same time, right? But you can see there's a pretty big size disparity in here, right? So I'm kind of wondering if it might be worthwhile to start making my colonies out of around this size when I can notice that difference, and see if
That's what I do. That's what I do. I'm being straight up. I make them around that size, and I let them grow because I seem to have way less fighting when I start at that size. It's just personal.
I put them together like, I'm like, okay, here you go. Here's my next colonies.
Yeah. And I mean, I do that too. Those ones I bought off you. I mean, whenever I was making those colonies, I would do that, but I had to feed off a few of those colonies just because they wanted to fight. Because I don't know, personally, it's just like ASF with me. I noticed that when you make them into colonies when they're largest, it almost like they get into a pack. Like if you have a female tub and a male tub, it's almost like the females get into a pack and they're like,
Oh,
look, we're
absolutely.
not going to let any male in, regardless. Even if you change their colony over to a different tub, it's almost like they just like say, hey, look, we're going to kill whatever that he puts in his tub.
So that's a good point. So when I make my colonies, I'll typically, like if I'm doing 1.6, I'll pull 2 females from this tub, 2 females from this tub.
Yeah, that's smart.
And 2 females from this tub, and then a male from over here. And then, they're all like, oh, well, I don't know anybody, so, we can't fight. Yeah. No ganging up.
Yeah, but I will say, though, 100%, if you make the colonies early, it's hard because you're not going to see production. Like if you make a colony out of those ones you just showed, those weaned that you just pulled, even though they're small,
it'll be
your production time is going to
produce.
Yeah, your production time is going to take your production is going to take a little hit because they're not going to produce in 2 weeks. They're going to produce in a month and a half.
But that's one thing that I'd like to talk about though. Actually, is I hear a lot of the time people like, oh, well, ASFs grow so slow, but then they're over here feeding mice.
Yeah.
And okay, well, so this is ASFs at about 4 weeks. That's how old of a mouse is that?
That's an adult mouse.
That's an adult mouse. So that's what, 12 weeks, 14 weeks?
10, 12 weeks, yeah.
So this is a 4-week ASF. That's the size of an adult mouse. So the way I run these tubs is I clean down. So this tub is, probably 5 to 6 weeks old. So that's almost a weaned rat. At 5 to 6 weeks. So
that's a breeder male. I mean, that could breed a colony right there, 100%.
Yeah. So they don't grow that much slower. Like
they're just not as big.
They're not as big. Yeah. Like okay. So yes, this is an adult. So this will be like probably 11 weeks old, 12 weeks old. But until it breeds, it's not going to get much bigger than this.
Yeah.
Once they start breeding, they'll get a little bit bigger. That's probably 40 grams or so, or 50 grams. Once you get them breeding, like that's a 100 gram, 100 or so gram female. She doesn't have any babies in her right now, but when they're, I think the biggest one that I pulled was like 140 or 150 grams. Like, they can get pretty hefty still.
But an ASF will never outgrow your ball python.
No, exactly. You can feed whatever ASF you want pretty much to any of your snakes.
Yeah. Rats will outgrow your.
Yeah, like I do not have a snake that can eat this rat.
Yeah. And you wouldn't want to put that in there anyway, because some people think that they can feed that, and that right there will fuck your snake up 100%.
No, that's a boy.
That's a male?
Yeah.
That's bigger than most of my males.
Yeah, no, dude, that's not even my big one. Like, look at him.
Yeah, well, that looks the one.
Yeah, Kevin, that one right there has got bigger nuts than all of us do right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, big nuts on it right there.
That's the other part on ASFs, right? Hey, they might not be as big as rats, but their nuts are bigger than rats. Where's my male tub?
Chris, Glamour said, how's your frozen thaw? It's going well. We're just slowly adding. I'm just trying to up my production right now. That's kind of why I've got so many ASF going. And we're just going to start slowly, freezing off and gassing and freezing off as we go. So it's just
let them get big enough to see.
Yeah. So Chris, you've got two options. So one, you can let them, once they get a little bit of size, so close together, female. The other thing that you can find is you see how the tufts in the fur there? That's nipples.
Yeah.
So they have a ton of nipples. You can see nipples on babies. Yeah. So here's the other sex, as you can see. He's far apart, he got some nuts. If he's sitting on the ground, there you go.
He's got some nuts.
But you can see them on even like this size.
You just got to look how far the little,
but see those little dots. I'm not sure how well they're coming up. So those are the nipples. So this is a female. Yeah. So if you want to sex them when they're smaller, then nipples. If you want to wait a little bit, you'll see nuts. So the way I do it, I wean everything together. So this is mixed. They'll go in here for 2 to 3 weeks, and then I separate them into these big tubs, and then these will be all males. So again, you can tell when they're this size.
Dude, you won't if you start looking at them, Chris. You will. I'm telling you, once you see it, and I make the dot. Like I said, the dot's got to be close as a female. The dot's further apart. It's a male. Dude, I'm telling you, go in your rodent room
Alexa,
right
turn on
now.
garage lights.
Go in your rodent room right now and pull out 2 of them, and that you think is a male and female, and you will 1,000% be able to tell, man. It's a night. Once you see it, you won't unsee it. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just
absolutely.
yeah. It's you don't have to look for the nuts. Like I said, because some of them don't have nuts at a certain age until they get older. Just look at the dot. Like I said, closer to the dot, the female, further the dot, and once you get it, you'll get it, man. It's super simple. What's going on, Zachary? Thanks for joining up. Any more questions you guys have, go ahead and drop them in the comment section below, because like I said, we're trying to make this relatively short, but not too short. You know what I'm saying? Like we want it to be helpful. We're already at 41 minutes, so probably here in another,
And get the likes up for Keaton. 23 people watching.
Yeah, y'all go ahead and drop a like if you're enjoying this, like I said, and we'll definitely be doing a lot. I mean, this is the first episode, and it's only gonna get better from here. Eventually, we'll do a software, where we can have multiple people in here and talk, and it'll be more fancy. But we're definitely starting low and working our way up.
Yeah. Trying to think of what else we can.
Your exhaust.
Oh yes, good point. Yep. So Keaton hasn't actually seen this yet either, but I installed a grow fan as an exhaust unit, so that vents up through the attic and then out into the soffits. I'm gonna set it up on a timer so it just runs regularly, but for now it's just a switch. I'm not gonna turn it on because it's loud. And then the other thing, and then we've got a mini split in here, and this goes to outside, right? It's a mini split, AC and heat. Works amazing for this size room. I can keep it in, when it's 115 degrees outside, I can keep it 75 in here. I typically keep it, I keep it comfortable for me. I know some people try to keep it cooler or hotter depending on, what time of year it is or whatever. Honestly, I haven't really noticed too big of a difference. ASFs do not like cold like regular Norwegians do. Norwegians, I know you can breed at 60 degrees or whatever. ASFs, if it's 60 degrees, they're going to be huddled in the corner or they're not making babies.
Yeah. I personally keep mine at 68, 70. I don't never let it go really below that unless I'm venting. Which the only reason I'm venting right now is because I haven't installed my. So Kevin did a grow, a grow fan. I just did a shutter exhaust with a intake shutter and an exhaust fan with electric.
And you've
I
got
just
your
made
own
mine.
building, so it's a little bit different than what I've got.
No, if you're in something like Kevin, 100% get something like that. But if you're in like your own building and you're not worried about anything, because some people have to, which I get it. Some people, when you're using grow fans, you have to use the carbon filter and whatnot to make sure that you're not going to piss your neighbors off or, dumping a bunch of, urine into their, or something. I don't know. But personally, I'm out in the country really, so it doesn't bother me. I just dump it out anyway. And, for me, I just did an intake exhaust and then intake fan and then exhaust. And I just bought one of the ones off Amazon, I think, that had the electronic system to where I could turn it on and off multiple times a day. And that's what I did.
And then Roy's asking, he's just getting in, what kind of snakes he should look to get. So, get what you like in the end, right? But buy females.
Yep.
So start with females. Once your females get up to 800 to 1,000 grams, then start looking for a male that's going to go with them and get you where you want to be. Clowns are great. DG's great. Like you said in there, right? If that's what you're interested in, then get some clown stuff. If you're looking to get into DG clown, then get some clown het DGs or DG het clowns, or double hets even. And then in a year or so, once those are starting to grow up, you can buy either a double visual or a visual het or whatever fits in there.
Just get what you first, like I said, what Kevin said, get what you want, But also, if you got to think what are you thinking of? Are you thinking of making money, or are you thinking of a hobby? You just want to do it for fun, because there's two different sides of this. If you're thinking about, you want to breed to eventually make money, then you're going to have to think ahead, and you're going to have to come up with a breeding plan before you start buying animals. Now, if you just want to buy because you like the way they look, which is totally fine, each their own, then you don't have to have a plan. But if I would personally sit down and think what you want to do in 5 years, and be like, hey, look, I want to be making money.
And don't chase the next shiny thing.
And be cognizant that breeding plan you make at the beginning, you're going to trash it in 3 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
I've trashed mine about 3 times in the last 2 years.
Exactly.
But it still helps to have it. I'm still happy that if you go in without a plan, then you're going to end up with a bunch of crap that you're like, why did I buy this?
Yeah, exactly. So Zachary, he basically put in the comments that he wants to make money in the future. So basically, you need to figure out. You need to go, look around. It's not hard, really. Figure out what the market's doing, and basically, at that point, it's going to be investing. You're going to have to invest. You're going to have to pay You're going to have to pay to play.
So, in a good first investment that you should make, go check out Mutation Creations Patreon. Billy's got a great video on his $25 tier of his breeder 1, 2, 3, and explaining like how to build a project and what the right way to do it is and the wrong way to do it. And again, he speaks in generalities, so it's applicable to whatever you want. I think his example was clown pies, but you can do it for literally anything.
And if he's interested in the DG clowns, find double het females. They're not expensive right now. You can get normal double het females for what, $200, $250?
Yeah,
they're very, very affordable right now.
Yep. Try to
I think Southern Star has a few.
I probably do. Yeah, I think there's even some codoms mixed in there, huh?
Yeah. See, I personally, Zachary, if you're just with my personal opinion, your knowledge is your wealth right now. You need to invest in yourself, which is in turn going to mean you need to invest in somebody who can teach you everything, and that's going to be, like I said, Patreon memberships, YouTube videos. You can see, there's a lot of things that you can do to invest in yourself before you have to initially go spend your investment. That's just personal opinion. You need to know your stuff before you just go out spending money, is what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
Learn.
Yep.
Robert, for colonies, so I'm typically running them, I think my ASF's around 6 months, plus or minus. So I've just been transitioning into this rack, so I haven't kind of been doing what I usually do. But what I usually do is that I clean, again, in order. So I'll feed off, now that this is full again, I'll feed off this colony next time I clean, and then everybody will move over, and then I'll put a new colony right here. So then I don't have to count there's one in the top, because I put them in there last night.
And talking about, if you're asking about feeding off, because some people I've had some people ask me that as well that I didn't get to answer. I feed my colonies off every 6 months. That's just what I do. I rerun my colonies every 6 months just to help with production. But that's just me. Some people wait 12, some people wait a year, some people wait 8 months. I personally found 6 months is the sweet spot for me.
You're welcome.
You're welcome, Zachary. Good luck in your adventures. Feel free to reach out to any of us on Instagram or Facebook or whatever.
Yeah, we'd all help you out for sure. 100%.
Most of the people that are in this hobby are there to try and help people. If somebody immediately tells you that, you need to buy this animal, then don't listen to that person anymore.
Yeah. No, he definitely needs a plan, and get you a plan together, what you want to do. First of all, get you a budget, because if you're wanting to invest in quality animals, you got to know your budget. You can't just say, "Oh, I don't want to spend too much," because Kevin, we can all attest to this. You saying you don't want to spend too much and then turning around 2 days later and buying a shitload of snakes is very possible.
Our 2022 budget that we decided that we were going to get back into ball pythons with was $5,000.
Yeah,
that's where we decided.
How did that last for you? How did that last?
The first snake or second snake?
No, unfortunately
not. Very long.
We kept with that plan for a little while. So, I got, you can check out my Morph Market auctions to see the ones that I bought at the beginning.
Yeah, no, you can check the Morph Market auctions. You can also check the raffles in the future.
Yeah, exactly. So, but now I've paid more for singles. I've paid 3 times my original budget for a single snake now. So,
But everybody does it though. It don't feel bad because you do it. Everybody does it. But we're just trying to help you out. We're trying to give you as much advice as possible because at the end of the day, you're gonna, like you said before, you're gonna scrap everything you thought you knew within a couple of years anyway. But if you have a solid foundation of what you want to work and how much you want to initially spend, it's gonna help you a lot.
I started out with 12 normals, a super pastel male, a lemon blast male, and a bumblebee male with 12 normal females.
But that was how you did it back then.
That was how you did it back then when I started.
So our first go around, we started similar to that. I had a spider male and a kingpin male, and I was like, I had a freaking normal male that we bred for a little bit. Like it was like, oh sweet.
I've never bred a normal male. That's one thing I can say. I've never bred a normal male.
Well, I mean that was in 2008. So
yeah. I started in 2010 and been doing it since.
So somebody had asked in here. Actually, I think it was Zachary again. So for rats, when we started out, again, it depends on what you plan to do. If you think that by the end of the first year you're going to have 30 snakes, then just start breeding rats. You can always sell rats.
Yeah.
I've made more money selling rats in the last 2 years than I have selling snakes.
Yeah, I think we can all attest to that. That's a very true statement.
So if you want to make money, breed rats. If you want to have fun, breed snakes.
Right. That's pretty close to the truth.
I don't think any of us enjoy going out into the rat room and shoveling rat shit for 2-3 hours. I don't think we enjoy it. But then when you get that check or that that direct deposit in your bank account for going out there for a few hours, I think it makes it all worth it.
Or not having to shell out the however many rats
Jeff has to buy.
Our
feed bills would be insane if we all bought rodents from people.
I still have to buy, but I breed rodents too, and my rodent bill is ridiculous per month.
Yeah. See, I did that, but I didn't have that many. I only had 20 snakes when I was in high school, and I did that, and it was like I'm pretty sure back then, just for 24, I think it was 23 or 24 snakes, I was paying $600 to $700 a month in frozen, just frozen. And I was like, I told myself if I ever did this again, I would 1,000% breed my own rodents. You can't.
So I mean, we got back into this in 2022. When I got my second snake that we bought, I bought 3 colonies of ASS, and then I found another local guy, and I started buying like 100 rats from him every week. And I didn't need 100 rats. I just bought 100 rats because I was like, I don't care. I'm just, I'll make more colonies. And I was producing more rats than I could possibly deal with. That's actually how me and Keaton met.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a shitload of rats. Anybody need some rats? He's like, yes, please.
Yeah. No, that was when I was first getting into it a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and I was like, I realized I had to breed my own, and I didn't have, there's not any connections that I found. And who Zachary said, how do you guys sell your rats? I personally, I found the guy who I wholesale to just off of a local Facebook group, just listing stuff for sale. And then, I'm sure Kevin basically did the same thing.
I really don't try to sell rats.
No.
When I have excess, then I reach out to people that I see posting on Facebook.
And it was all off the same freaking. Kevin and I met off the Facebook group off of rats.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think I've ever. Maybe I posted once, but I think like me and you posted looking for rats, and I was like, hey, I've got a bunch of ASFs.
He was breeding and I wasn't breeding. Yeah, so I was just getting into it.
You will not have trouble moving rats.
No. Especially if you're in a town, big city areas.
Yeah.
Here's your rat killer.
Yeah. The puppy dog. Just checking for rats in the bucket.
Yeah, Victory said I sell at an expo, and that's another thing that I'm going to personally get into probably but I haven't done my first show yet. I'm kind of the person. I'm not going to do my first actual show until I have, a good enough actual, animals to sell to be able to make a splash, so I probably will get into selling at expos and shows, but I mean, it will be a while. But I definitely agree. I know some people who do sell at expos and they make a ton of money, especially on frozen. People love frozen at expos, it seems like. That's just what I hear.
Yeah, Robert, right now is the time to get into ball pythons for sure. Yeah. It is so much cheaper than, last year or the year before. You can get leaps and bounds ahead of what everybody else did. Right.
Shit, I sold a DG female. Freaking, when I first got into it, I bought 3 DG females from a buddy of mine that was getting out. I paid $4,500 for. She was an adult. I've sold her for $6,000 in less than 4 hours on Morph Market, and now you would be lucky to sell her for $1,000.
Yep.
So that just goes to prove the market right now. If you're, like I said, just like Kevin said, if you're looking to get into snakes, any kind of project, I don't care how high end you want to go. I mean, I guess it depends. If you go for like a world's first animal, you're still going to pay premium price. But I mean, if you're buying DG Clown, for example, and things like that, you're going to have readily available animals, very nice animals for a cheap price. So 100% get into it now if you're looking to, for sure.
You can make world's first and other things, not necessarily like super high end, but still world's first animals.
Yep.
Just with codoms that just haven't been put together.
Mm-hmm.
If you just want that notoriety, that straw in your hat or whatever, like every single year we make new combos that have never been done before.
Yep.
And it's sometimes they look cool, and then sometimes it's like, well, that didn't work at all.
So here's the extent of our rats bonus food. They really like bell pepper seeds.
I'm gonna have to dip here in just a second. I think my dad's about to show up. We're gonna finish fixing the boat. We're right at 56. Any last questions? Anything, Kevin? Any of you guys want to say real quick? We're right at 56 minutes. We don't want to make it too long anyway. I know we could all sit here and talk. Anybody have any last questions? Drop them right now. We're gonna try and wrap this up. Any last questions?
And Zachary, you can check us both our Instagrams out. I think Keaton's pretty active. Whitney does ours. Heidi does Jack and Heidi's. So
Southern
Star Reptiles. A Exotics and Hook and Broils. You can see all the stuff that we're working on for the most part.
Yep. Everybody's got a social media. Everybody's got Instagram. We've got Morph Market. We've got YouTube pages. You name it. Everybody's got it. So you can check us all out there. And then like I said, this is going to be a weekly deal. So lots of cool stuff to come, guys. This is only the beginning, and it's only going to get better from here. Like I said, this is bare minimum. This is literally no editing, no nothing, no lights. I mean, just us jumping on here and talking to you guys. So it's only going to get better and better. So we enjoy everybody who came. Kevin, thank you again for joining up and speaking the truth. Southern Star, thank you again for being over with Kevin and dropping some knowledge.
Thanks for letting me just worm my way in here.
No, that's one thing about this channel is you guys should know by now. We are all about knowledge and helping people out. So anybody, we're just we're all glad to be here, really, and just helping each other out. I mean, we're at 10K before.
So Robert, just make sure that you're getting animals that you want, because sometimes you buy collections and you're like, oh man, that's a great deal, and then you go through it and you're like,
it's not that great of a deal.
Okay, well, I could have just bought the 2 animals that I wanted out of that collection for $2,000, and I just got stuck with 10 other animals that I didn't really want, and now I've got to feed. And lots of people talk about like, oh, well, we breed our own rats, so it's free to feed my animals. It's not free. I'm out here every week cleaning rats, and feeding them. So like
for everything.
Us personally, I assign my animals $500 a year. That's how much it costs me to keep a ball python. About 200 of that's food, and then like 300 of that's caging and electricity and all that other crap. Vet bills, whatever, show costs. So just because you're getting a free snake is the most expensive snake you will ever get.
Hey, that right there is speaking the truth. On that note, we're going to end it there. Kevin just spoke the truth. So Kevin just spoke the truth. For anybody looking to get into the snakes or whatever you're doing, do not buy a collection or anything unless you 100% know what you're getting into, because you can't buy a collection and then turn around and drop the animals and make profit anymore. It's just not how it works. Used to be able to, you could probably do that, but nowadays you're going to be stuck with those animals, and nothing's free. You got sweat equity in there. I mean, you got a lot of your own time in there cleaning those little fuckers. So, I mean, it's nothing's free, 100%. Let's see, make sure everything's good. Yep. Any interesting conversations about current top mores? Steve, we will get to that. We will get to that next time. I have to go. I'm trying to make it. We're right at an hour. I got to get out of here, and we've hit our time limit. So again, thank you guys. Drop in the comment section below on this, and we will answer you. Kevin and I, we will all be, hovering the comments, and yeah, we will see you guys later. Peace.
Thanks.